Welcome everybody out to podcast number 463. We're going to talk about how to play Monopoly today. Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome everybody. I hope you're doing well, and I hope this week after the holidays is really treating you well and that things aren't too complicated for you, meaning too many emails, too many things to respond to, too many fires. I hope that you're having a really good week. I was kind of worried about it, and don't get me wrong, I've got like it's too much 5 pounds of work fitting into a 1 pound person. But it's going a lot better. I feel fairly organized. I hope you do too. Anyway, I just, like I said, and I always say this, I really hope you're doing well, and I mean that sincerely. So I've got a neat little podcast for us today. And so I'm going to skip a little bit of the front matter that I usually give and get right into the content here. The topic is, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to title it yet, whether it's how to play Monopoly or the right way to play Monopoly or whatever, but over the holidays that my kiddos and I played Monopoly, and it's been a while. And just to orient you, hopefully this helps. There's the Go, and then you've got like the Baltic, and what is the other one? Anyway, the Baltic Avenue properties, little brown properties, and then you've got the railroad, and then you've got like the Connecticut Avenue, like light blue properties, jail, and then like the Ventura Avenue pink properties, another railroad, St. James Place, the orange ones, free parking, and then you get up to like Indiana Avenue, the red properties, and I think. Anyway, I'll just say the railroad, the yellow properties go to jail, the green properties, the railroad, and then Park Place and Boardwalk, the blue properties, which are really expensive. So as you go around the board, it goes from cheapest to most expensive, and there's also some utilities and chance cards and community chest cards in there as well. So I hope that was just a nice little visual. So you get a certain amount of money, you can buy properties. As you roll the dice, you move your pieces along the board, and you either have to pay rent, or you get rent, or you go to jail, or there's a number of things. Really nice game. It's been around a long time. You should have actually researched how long it has been around. But this was the reflection that I had, is when I was playing the game, I had all of my money, and I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just telling you data, because there's a point here. I had all my money spread out, except for maybe the ones and the fives I didn't really care about. But the 20s, 10s, 20, are there 20s? Yeah, 20s, 50s, especially the hundreds and especially the 500s, I had spread out. So at a glance, I knew exactly how many of them I had. And my properties, I had them spread out so that I could see exactly where they were. And they were right in front of my face. So if somebody landed on a property, I could basically ask for the right rents, right? I was like, hey, I'm aware of what's going on here right away. And I started to learn after playing for a little bit, and I hadn't played it in a number of years, that as I'm going around, if I was about to go across properties that other people on the board, my kids, owned, I kind of looked at their rent and how many houses they had on them, and I would see if I had enough money to cover so I didn't go bankrupt. And if I landed on a property which was maybe expensive, which would take me closer down to like lower amounts in my bank account, or personally, my personal account, I would look at where my piece was, and if I was heading into a couple of rolls where I didn't have a lot of danger, I would take that risk. So I was always using the data. And a couple of key things were my strategies. Buy properties whenever I could, make sure I could cover any rent according to my next 2 or 3 rolls, always know how much money that I had, always knew what properties I owned and if somebody landed on my properties. And so the other kids wouldn't do that. The kids that I were Yeah, the other kids. That's telling. Anyway, my kids that I was playing with wouldn't do that. They would clump up their money, or it'd be haphazard around the table, or their property cards would be like halfway into the board or whatever. It was chaos. And Katie was like, "You're a nightmare to play with." And I'm like, "Katie, I'm trying to help them win." I was like, "Kids, reorganize your money, but they wouldn't. And so finally I was, "Kate, if they don't know that I've landed on their property, should I tell them, or should I just wait for them to notice? Like, should I play the game to win, or should I play the game to just like be honest?" And I know that sounds like a stupid question, but like, they were like eating butterflies and partly watching a movie and not paying attention. So if I go in on their property, and you can tell me how you play the game, but if I got on their property, they didn't notice that I was there and that I owed them rent. So Katie was like, "Just do the right thing." And so I was like, "Okay, hey, Levi, I owe you $36. Hey," anyway, so they didn't know where they were on the board. And so Emery, my daughter, she's 5. She might be 6 now. She's 6 now. 5 or 6, somewhere in there. I'd have to check my app. Anyway, she was playing with me and I was helping her out. And then she went over to watch a movie and I played for her. And you can guess that she and I both won. But it's not just because I was the adult, it's because I had metrics. It's because I always knew what was going on. 2 of the other players went out because they ran out of money. They had bought things ahead of going through a dangerous area and they didn't have money to back it up. And I kept making like shady deals to keep them in the game, but they kept going out of the game. Like, "Hey, if you give me that, I'll, cover your $900 bill," or whatever. Anyway, but we're playing this game, and what I realized, it really is all about visualizing the data. And the reason I'm telling you this is because it relates to the construction industry and what we're doing and where we're headed. And I think we can learn a lot from this, meaning that project managers and project superintendents on jobs are playing the game like my kids were playing the Monopoly game. They have their money all clumped up. They can't see what they own. They don't realize where their pieces are, and they're not using data to win, meaning they're not looking at the position of their piece ahead of where they're about to go to look at their risk. They're not looking at the position of their piece ahead of where they're going to look at their opportunity. They don't know how much cash they have on hand, where their finances are, what properties they own, and they're not playing with strategy. They got all their money clumped up and they can't see their property cards. And what that ties to in construction is, if we don't have accurate financial projections, if we don't have a risk and opportunity register, we don't know our risks, we don't know our opportunities, our financial opportunities, we're not looking daily, weekly, monthly at data, then we're not playing the game. And so I was talking to a president of the company the other day, and I'm like, on this job, every day I ask these questions. What is our target for production? But what did we actually do? And did we make it or not? And if there are any deviations, what can we go do to fix it every day, day in and day out? How are we tracking with our risks? How are we tracking with our opportunities? What do our financial projections say? How can we play this game? And the president, who hadn't grown up like just in construction, doing things as like a foreman or a superintendent, but actually went through the college route, which is great, said, "Well, that's what I did every day." And it hit me. He is great at what he did as a project manager, not because he grew up as a foreman or a superintendent or grew up on a shovel. He's great. He was a great project manager because he knew how to play Monopoly. He knew how to spread the money out. He knew how to look at the properties. He knew how to realize where the piece was in the game. And so my point with this podcast is to say, being a great PM and a great superintendent, it's just like playing Monopoly. Where's your piece? Where's your piece about to go? How much money, cash on hand, do you have? What can you allocate it for? What properties do you own? Should you buy them? Should you not? And can you purchase those ahead of where your piece is about to go? Make strategic decisions and buy as many properties as you possibly can. On a construction site, Know where you are, where the project is, where it should be, what you need to correct to get it back on track, how much cash you have on hand, what are your risks, what are your opportunities, how much buffer do you have until the end date, what does your schedule look like. Look at the metrics, and the metrics that you should have are your buyout log, your procurement log, your roadblock tracker, or your roadblock boards, whatever you want to call it, your quality program, your tax plan as the basis for everything, right? And your financial projections. I don't know if I already said that. If I did, I apologize. But those are the things that you should use. And I was telling somebody just the other day, I'm like, as a leader on a project, I can't do anything without the tax plan. You don't have a procurement log without a tax plan. You don't have a buyout log without a tax plan. You don't have accurate financial projections without a tax plan. You don't have anything without a tax plan. If somebody asked me any question on site, I would go look at that tax plan to say, well, if I do this, I'll move that here. That gives us that much buffers. This is strategically when that has to happen. Somebody asked me when the materials have to be here. I'd look at the tax plan. Well, it needs to arrive on the job site here. Somebody asked me when I need a contractor bought out. That needs to be done here. When does design need to be done? That needs to be done here. When does permitting need to be done? That needs to be done here. When does coordination need to be done? That needs to be done here. If you're not using your tax plan 2 to 3 or 4 times a day fanatically on your job site, then you do not have the metrics that you need to go be successful on your project, period, end of story. If you do not have a buyout log, a procurement log, if you do not have your financial projections, if you do not have a risk and opportunity register, we are not playing the game to win. And so I just want to state one more time, there's a right and a wrong way to play Monopoly, and there's a right and a wrong way to play on the job. And I hope that we go do 2 things. We make everything visual. We get the right metrics, we see what we need to see so that we can play the game on the go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.